Hades 360 is an insane wooden roller coaster at Mount Olympus. This coaster has an incredible layout featuring several steep drops, 2 lengthy underground tunnels beneath the parking lot, and a corkscrew inversion. However, it has a major Achilles heel. This ride is super rough. Does that ruin the ride experience? Find out in this review. Mount Olympus built a trio of wood coasters from Custom Coasters International in the mid-1990s. After that company went bankrupt in the early 2000s, some of their engineers went on to form the Gravity Group in 2002. So it's no surprise Mount Olympus went back to a few familiar faces for the next major coaster. Hades originally opened back in 2005 as just Hades. This was the first coaster ever built by the Gravity Group, and they certainly made a splash. Hades was and still is a statistical monster. Its 140-foot or 43-meter tall drop would be one of the largest on any wood coaster, and it just narrowly misses the top 10 nowadays. The coaster also features a whopping 4,746 feet, or 1,447 meters of track, which is still good for the 8th longest wood coaster in the world. But it wasn't just the stats. Hades had a crazy layout. Named after the god of the underworld, Hades would fittingly dive beneath the parking lot not once, but twice. Hades has the world's longest underground tunnel on a roller coaster. And it's not just a gimmick either. There are bunny hills and 90-degree bank turns in there. During normal operating hours, it's pitch black too, so it's pure insanity. This coaster makes quite the impression as you drive into Mount Olympus, as it's impossible to miss this monstrous coaster. Hades opened to rave reviews, placing in the top 10 of the Golden Ticket Awards and Mitch Hawker poll for the best wooden roller coasters in the world. In 2013, Silver Dollar City opened Outlaw Run. This Rocky Mountain construction creation would use the company's topper track and invert riders 3 times. That same year, Mount Olympus decided to upgrade their signature coaster. Hades was transformed into Hades 360. Gravity Group would add a corkscrew in the far turnaround. This would make it, at the time, the only traditional wood coaster with an inversion. Gravity Group would add similar inversions to 4 more of their ground-up wood coasters over the next decade. From 2005 to 2012, Hades ran PTC trains. The conversion to Hades 360 was accompanied by brand new Timberliner trains. These were first used in Quasi's Wooden Warrior in 2011. These trains were single-bench trains so they could more smoothly navigate turns. Hades 360 was the first coaster retrofit with Timberliners. These trains are lighter than PTC trains, which helps reduce wear on the track, but they don't hold or carry as much momentum. Hades was designed with the heavier PTC trains in mind. Even though Hades 360 added 2 extra rows and increased the ride's capacity from 20 to 24 passengers, the new trains would make Hades 360 a valley risk at 2 points. While the corkscrew lowered the far turnaround, the giant camelback after the second tunnel will be the most problematic spot. The coaster could also have difficulties making it back up to the final brake run because it was positioned so high off the ground. The latter 2 spots have anti-rollbacks added. The park reprofiled the problematic camelback for the 2017 season. It was shortened, and the resultant drop was transformed into a double down. To mitigate the risk of valleying, Hades 360 had implemented a strict policy that every single seat must be filled. This would make Hades 360 a frustrating attraction to experience. On quiet days, riders would have to patiently wait in the station until there were 24 riders available. This could take quite some time. Or worse, the ride could be found closed if the park didn't think there'd be enough people riding it. Even on busy days, operators would have to call down the line for single riders and then have to hold up the dispatch until they could fill empty seats. Sometimes groups would have to be split up. This policy was in effect as late as my 2019 visit. Last year, Hades 360 had a much more relaxed policy. The trains still needed to be mostly filled, but the operators were willing and able to dispatch the train with a few empty rows and seats. If you visit Mount Olympus on a busy day, you may be waiting a while for Hades, but it at least guarantees the ride will be open. This ride only has a single train. It also has a long cycle time between the lengthy ride experience and not so fast dispatches. And it's the park's most popular attraction too. I've typically had to wait roughly 45 minutes to experience Hades, and that's about with half the line filled. The line is fairly well shaded, and it offers some fun views of the ride's second half. You also have some not so fun views of trees covered in gum. The station is super narrow, but you are allowed to wait for a row of your choice, as long as the park gets enough people to fill the train. My favorite row in Hades is easily the back. This ride has some sizable and steep drops, so you want to be in the back to experience those at the fullest. Hades 360 features clamshell restraints that swing down from the side like the other Timberliners. One addition is a redundant seatbelt that fastens to the outside of the restraint. I haven't seen this on any other Timberliners, but it doesn't impact the ride experience. When you entered the ride's queue line, you may have noticed a sign warning you that Hades 360 was quote-unquote riding aggressive today. Aggressive is an understatement. In Hades 360's inaugural year, it precipitously plummeted in coaster polls. In the Mitch Hawker poll, Hades went from a top 20 ride in 2012 to a bottom 10 ride in 2013. Was the corkscrew that bad? No, that's actually one of the smoothest parts of the ride. Were the trains bad? They may have taken the layout more slowly, but they were more comfortable and the ride still had plenty of power. So what was the problem? The roughness. Hades had an ambitious layout from day one. While it tracked well in its early years, the ride quickly tore itself apart over the next decade. When people returned for Hades 360, they encountered one of the roughest wood coasters on the planet, and it didn't matter where they sat. My first rides occurred in 2019. The ride shuffled profusely throughout the layout, particularly in the underground tunnels and on the return run. I was ever so thankful the Timberliners absorbed most of the blows. When I returned in 2021, Hades 360 was even rougher. Those two tunnels are some of the most brutal stretches on any coaster. I got 5 rides in Hades that year, and my back was in complete agony by the end of 2 of them. And for reference, I'm not someone who typically has or has had back issues. What compounds the roughness in Hades 360 is how wild the coaster is. Most rough coasters are older and slower wood coasters. This coaster rips through much of its layout, and the coaster's wildest portion, those underground tunnels, occur in total darkness, so you cannot properly brace yourself for what's coming. If there's any coaster out there that I'd like to nominate for a full retracking, it would be Hades 360. This coaster's layout is a 10 out of 10. The ride becomes an endurance test, and not necessarily a good one because of how it tracks. The coaster begins with one of the best pre-lifts out there, and it starts with a sizable drop right out of the station. You had to climb a large staircase to reach the station, and your effort is about to be rewarded. This plunge delivers a great ejector pop if you're in the back. You then bank upwards to the right. The ascent offers no airtime, but the descent is a double down. If you're in the back, the second dip gives a quick pop of airtime. You then round a low turn that really rattles the train, and unfortunately, this is a sign of what's to come. Next is Ness Hill, and this element is wild. It delivers an aggressive ejector pop for every row, and the drop has the surprise head chopper with the support. You then abruptly twist upwards into the lift hill, getting some solid laterals along the way. This is one heck of a start. The pre-lift section does more than some coasters. When the train engages the lift, the chain is violently slammed. Just take a listen. That does not sound good. Once atop the 136 foot or 41 meter tall lift hill, you immediately head down a 65-degree plunge into an underground tunnel. This drop is incredible. It delivers sustained airtime bordering on the edge of strong floater and weak ejector. Plus, you have that visual of plunging into what looks like a black hole. The lights are on in the POV I'm showing, but they're typically off. As you blaze through this tunnel, you navigate a small bunny hill, bank right, head over another bunny hill, traverse a 90-degree turn to the left, and navigate a step up. All of these elements occur in rapid-fire succession, and your body is tossed about like a rag doll. The first 2 bunny hills offer some mildly sustained floater airtime. Then the sudden changes of direction offer jolts of laterals because you can't brace for them, and the step up gives a little pop of floater airtime. However, this tunnel is the roughest part of the ride. This section tracks super poorly, so while you experience the ride's intended forces, you are also mercilessly jostled about. That 90-degree turn is particularly brutal. When you emerge from the underworld, you get a downright terrifying head chopper, and then you navigate the giant corkscrew. This elongated element offers a pinch of hang time, much more so than your average corkscrew. It feels more like a 0G roll, to be honest. This entire section takes place on its own island in the parking lot. If you aren't familiar with Hades' layout, you'd be pretty confused to see what looks like some random wood coaster track all by itself in the parking lot. The corkscrew is followed by a low and shaky turn before zooming over a camelback that drops you back underground. This hill delivers good sustained floater airtime up front, but those in the back will get weak ejector airtime because of the sizable plunge, and this element is presented well with the Greek columns positioned around it. You don't see something like that on Pantheon. The second tunnel starts with a minimally banked right turn with solid laterals, followed by an elongated left turn that features 3 humps, including one that's slightly outer banked. Each hill delivers a small pop of airtime, and you also get some faint laterals throughout. However, this stretch is almost as jarring as the outward tunnel. You then burst out of the tunnel and coast over that big camelback. Those up front get some floater airtime, but the element is even better in the back. Remember, it's a double down. Those in back get a faint pop on the first descent, and great floater in the second dip. Heck, even the front gets a little floater pop on that second dip because you have so much speed. Next is a turnaround. The entry into this element gives weak floater up front, and then you have a swooping drop downwards. It gives a little bit of laterals, but it's more notable for how shaky it is. Hades then flies over back-to-back bunny hills. The first one gives a little floater up front, while the back gets a weak pop of airtime on the second one. And that second one also includes a sweet head chopper with some supports. You then wrap upwards into the brake run and bleed off speed shockingly fast. It really feels like you're going to stall out. You then hit the final brakes, but the ride isn't exactly over. You have this unassuming little dip into the station, but those in back get a little yank forwards because the train enters the station with some appreciable speed. This ends the experience on Hades 360. So what would I rate this coaster? This is one of the hardest coasters for me to rank, but I would give the ultimate experience of Hades 360 a 7 out of 10. This coaster is not one that I can marathon. It takes a toll on your body. But I love the layout and elements so much that I'm willing to endure the beating. This ride has a handful of amazing drops in the back car, and those underground tunnels are completely out of control between the darkness, speed, and dynamics. If this park cannot perform a full retracking, bare minimum, I think they need to address those 2 underground tunnels. That stretches the potential to be one of the best in any coaster. It's still good, but it's hard to fully appreciate its brilliance when you're getting roughed up. This is a flawed coaster in its current state, but it's still my favorite ride at Mount Olympus. If you hate rough rides, you may want to avoid this one. There aren't many coasters rougher than Hades 360, but if you can handle an aggressive ride, you may love Hades. So those are my thoughts on Hades 360. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Do you think it's too rough? Let me know which version of this attraction you experienced down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.